Hi everyone and welcome. On this new video I'll compare the 9850X3D to the 9800X3D. As per thumbnail, I would not recommend buying the 9850X3D. It's 18% more watts on average and it's only 4% faster than the 9800X3D. Without considering, you can still tune in 9800X3D for better performance, lower thermals, and better wattage as well. So there is no point at all in buying the 9850X3D. Both Gamers Nexus and Hardware Unbox share the same behavior with this CPU. It's just going to consume 15 to 25% more watts for as little as 4% performance increase. I don't believe anyone does it, but in case you wanted to use your CPU stock, the 9850X3D does offer a performance uplift, although at a higher cost in terms of like pricing, higher wattage, and no real performance gains. Same as here, 95 watts against 118 watts. That is almost getting close to the 9950X3D. Here are now some benchmarks. In this case, we got the Outer Worlds. The performance uplift is literally 4 FPS-ish, 5 FPS out of 136 minimum. So we're talking about 3 to 4% performance uplift. The performance gain on Rainbow Six Siege at 1080p medium is almost unnoticeable, whereas in 1080p Ultra is literally between margin of error. Whereas on Battlefield 6, it still is somewhat noticeable. At best, in 1080p medium and 1080p overkill, there's no difference. Percentages can vary from 7 on Battlefield 6 to 1 on Mafia the Old Country when comparing the 9800X3D to the 9850X3D. On Silent Hill F at 1080p Epic with the LSS, we're talking about 20% extra watts consumed for just 5 extra FPS. Stalker 2, we have 3 extra FPS and around 11 to 12% more watts consumed. AMD claims that there is less than 1% FPS difference from DDR5 4800 and DDR5 6000 MHz when paired with the new 9850X3D, and this was measured across 30 plus games. The one displayed here are, well, within the margin of error. At the same time, they haven't disclosed the timings for the 4800 and the 6000 RAM. At the end of the day, faster RAM doesn't really help the 9800 X3D nor the 9850X3D unless you tune your RAM properly with really tight timings. So for the average user that just wants a simple installation, you just plug in the CPU, all the cables, and then you just boot up the PC, this will be good. But for other people that actually want to tune their timings and do all the stuff required to squeeze every ounce of performance out of your CPU and RAM and GPU, this slide right here makes no sense. So at 1080p on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, we have some performance difference, although it's mostly only 1% lows, and it can be improved further by tightening the timings. Same as for Cyberpunk 2077. At 1080p, there is a slight improvement in the 1% lows when pairing the 9850X3D with the 6000 MHz RAM. So we go back at the beginning. I do not recommend at all buying the 9850X3D. You could either stick with the 9800X3D, or if you still have the 7800X3D, may as well just keep that one and tune it. Just tune your CPU, have someone do it, you'll get better performance, and it will probably cost less as well than changing your whole setup and buying the new CPU while selling yours will still bring you some money back. It's not worth it in the end. If you now decided to not to buy this newer CPU, you can just look at my previous tutorials on how to undervolt your 9800 X3D, on how to tune your RAM to get better FPS and more stability in your system. What I'm waiting for is the 9950 X3D2, which should be a lot better than the 9850 X3D in terms of comparison with its predecessor, but I don't know it yet, so I'll be waiting and I'll probably buy that one for productivity and gaming. Full credit to Gamers Nexus, Hardware Unbox and Testing Games for creating the material to help me gather the information and make this video.